Hello there, this is James S. Crofty, knows 1978, and before I begin, let's frame the premise of this video using the quote that I've used here as the screen capture. Sometimes people use respect to mean treating someone like a person, and sometimes to mean treating someone like an authority. And sometimes people who are used to being treated as an authority say, if you don't respect me, then I won't respect you, meaning if you don't treat me as an authority, then I won't treat you like a person. And similarly, while everyone on all sides and none of what we reductively label as the political spectrum claims to be fighting for their rights and their freedoms, 999 times out of 1,000, when those who we label as right-wingers and the far right, and even moderate centrists, liberals, and some self-proclaimed leftists who feel personally attacked and threatened by so-called feminazis, SJWs, and the mythical boogeyman of the hard left, talk about defending and upholding their rights and protecting their freedoms, what they actually mean is preserving their power, privilege, and authority over others, in some cases literally and directly, with the southern states seceding from the Union and declaring war for the sole and express purpose of preserving their right, meaning power, to maintain and expand slavery, although far more often they mean it much more vaguely and emotionally, with the people who yell all lives matter, blue lives matter, and but what about men's rights, for example, only doing so because when they hear or read Black Lives Matter or feminism, what they perceive is women and black people fighting for more privilege and power. And because obviously, just as is the case with money, land, and other tangible resources, you can't have more privilege and power unless other people have less, the only way for women and black people to gain more privilege and power is to take them from white men, either directly or to have them granted to them by the government after the government has stripped us of our rights, once again meaning authority, privilege, and power, meaning that feminazis and black supremacists are the true oppressors here, and we are the oppressed and persecuted victims, tacitly admitting that we are currently the oppressors and we are fighting to maintain our power and privilege over others, but I digress. However, actual rights are not privilege and power and do not work the same way. They are not a zero-sum game, meaning that you cannot only gain rights by taking them from or violating the rights of someone else. Instead, they are simply a recognition of the fact that the person and or group in question are human beings as well, who should have the same legal and social freedoms and protections which we as the privileged group and individuals take for granted. In short, rights are society's often flawed and clumsy, but always developing, learning, and growing effort to undo the discrimination and oppression which is the inevitable and natural result of the fact that for millennia, rich, straight, white, able-bodied, cisgendered, and mentally healthy white men, or in Japan, Japanese men, in Egypt, Egyptian men, and so forth, decided what was normal, legal, moral, and socially acceptable, and to a very large extent still do, putting everyone else at a disadvantage. So this being the case, how can we distinguish between the genuine struggle for actual rights and the petty whinings of privileged and entitled arseholes who are so used to their privilege that no longer being the centre of the universe genuinely feels like oppression? Simply by describing what they are fighting for while replacing the word right with privilege or power to see if it fits. The power to not be stopped and searched, harassed, arrested, brutalised, and even murdered by the police far more often than white people, based upon nothing but the assumption that they are naturally more violent and criminal simply because of their skin colour. It just doesn't sound right, does it? Versus the power to be able to overthrow the government if it tries to strip me of my power to shoot dead any criminal who threatens my family and my freedom. There, see how it works? The privilege to be able to live my life with the person who I love and raise a family with them without being constantly told that I'm mentally ill, possessed by demons, or am condemned to hell, versus the privilege of being able to harass, condemn, and impose conversion therapy upon gay people because them existing in anything other than a constant state of shame, self-hatred, and denial makes me feel emotionally uncomfortable, and to attempt to rationalize that emotional discomfort by claiming that same-sex marriage, adoption, and existence will destroy society somehow. I could go on for hours, but I want to throw this open to try and get everyone involved. So in the comment section below, write your own example of how when people on what we label as the right talk about rights, what they really mean is their privilege and power. Braces myself to receive 10,000 strawman comments in the same format from how dare you call us fascists and or bigots, insisting that SJW feminazi hard-left communists are conspiring to oppress you, brainwash your children and destroy society. No, they're not. What the fuck did I just explain to you?